It can't go on like this, can it?
It can.
Well, welcome to the final whistle. I hope everyone's good. Well, it's not really a question I want to ask you, to be fair. I think everyone's head's still on Mars after yesterday's defeat to Blackburn Rovers. Welcome to the match preview. We're going to look ahead to Tuesday's game against Middlesbrough. It can't go on like this, can it? Well, we'll see. It did yesterday. Will it again on Tuesday? I don't know. I don't know where bloody head's at this point, to be fair. But sorry we are late. We have been chatting. We're trying to work out tactics of actually the team turning up to the stadium and then obviously getting some goals on Tuesday night. But me and Dan just can't work out where they're going to come from, to be fair. Let's see who's in. Just announced that Will Still's been sacked. It's no surprise, is it? I mean, if Marty don't get the next couple of results, he could be very much gone as well. I was really angry yesterday, but the problem is the players, not the manager. Well, this is the thing. Not really looking forward to Tuesday night. I hope the players at least try for Marty's sake and ours. Well, this is it. Evening, Jack. Hope you're well. Yeah, I'm good as I can be. Gaffer, what is this with you? You said after 8. Well, I said after 8, yeah. We have got a preview to do, and then we will be on after that. After 8, did you mean 9? Well, I clearly said 8, but we're going to get on with it. Evening, everyone. This club is sinking like a lead balloon. I don't know, mate, to be fair. Greetings. Look as though the players have down-tooled. Well, a lot of them are out of contract in the summer, aren't they? Samare, Daka, Jordan Ayew, Harry Winks, Ricardo. There's a good few out of contract, and this is it. Wolves have sacked the manager as well. Well, we've had 3 managers since Enzo Maresca now, so Leicester like to be sacking their managers. We don't want to become the new Watford, though. This is the thing. But guys, as always, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you haven't subscribed already. Please get down and do so. Help me out massively. If you're a Middlesbrough fan, let me know your thoughts ahead of the game. Let's get Dan in first. Dan,
Evening, Jack.
How are we? Are you calmed down now? Have you come back down from Mars, Dan, or are you still pissed off, mate?
I'm more annoyed than pissed off, to be honest, mate. Yeah, you know, it's just become one of those things that sometimes, you know, if you don't laugh about it, you'll cry. And at the minute, we've been crying a lot yesterday, and it's just time to suck it up, as they say, and get on with it now, because we are where we are. So, you know, it's
well, this is it. And, you know, the championship, well, if you don't turn up in it, then you rightfully get beat. And, you know, 1 win in 9 now. Pressure's building on the manager, it is. We can't say it isn't. Obviously, the players yesterday, well, half-heartedly clapped the fans yesterday. Ricardo forced them over. And, they got booed. They got told you're not fit to wear the shirt. And I think it just shows where the club is at, Dan, with the decline at the minute, mate, and how bad things have got at Leicester City Football Club from top to bottom, mate, to be fair. Yeah, absolutely. It is. And like I say, you know, obviously after the drive home yesterday, you know, when you have a little bit more time to reflect, and then sort of going through today, you know, like I say, you do reflect on things a little bit more. So as in regards with Marty, I think he's bitten off far more than he can chew. But at the same time, you know, he has been dealt a duff hand. He has.
But what he doesn't do, as we've said many a time on here and between ourselves, is that he doesn't back up what he says he's going to do, and that's what I think. That's more what angers fans at the minute towards him. I think he'd be absolutely fine. I think he'll be absolutely fine anyway, for the other reason of the mess that the two at the top have got us into. I think we're in the same situation as we were with Rude, where we can't afford to sack him because it's going to cost us too much money, and they ain't got the money to spend on sacking another manager that they've got wrong. You know,
this is what someone said yesterday. They said we don't want to become the new Watford. I said in the mess we've got ourselves in, we can only blame ourselves. You've got players who are out of contract who don't really give a toss, to be honest. Let's be fair. Proved it yesterday with the performances again and again and again. The same players who are not good enough, who keep putting in the same performances, and then you get the same result because they just can't be bothered to. They stroll around the pitch, just casually going to take a throw in and that, like they're not behind in the game. And you've got a manager who says the same thing in post-match. Actions speak louder than words, and I don't see any action from this team. I don't see how I think we're too predictable. I think we're easy to play against. I think teams are going to really fancy us against us this season because we're in a mess, and we've got ourselves into this situation, and this has been going on long enough. We haven't learned our lesson from the first relegation to the Championship. We've made so many poor decisions, mismanagement, and all that from the top.
Yeah.
And the players, there's about another 6-7 out of contract in the summer. January is going to be massive to who we actually bring in. We need a striker. We're non-existent again. Blackburn did a job on us, got the 3 points, deserved it. And Leicester went missing again, Dan. And then we look at Tuesday's game, which we're going to bring Johnny in a minute.
Yeah.
Middlesbrough, second in the league under Rob Edwards, a manager they probably didn't fancy when they did bring him in. But he's proved them wrong. He's got the fans on side. And, that's another tough game for us on Tuesday night. The players, you just hope they go and put in a performance.
Yeah. Well, you'd like to hope so. It's one of those. They seem to not turn up against sides that they think they're going to get beaten by.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that they shouldn't get beaten by, but the sides that they think they're going to be a tougher challenge that are at the top there, they'll turn up and put a performance in because they don't want to embarrass themselves, forgetting about the fact that they've absolutely embarrassed the hell out of themselves literally 2 days beforehand, because that's what they're like. But, because it could be an absolute slaughterhouse on Tuesday if we play like we have done the last 2.5, 3 games, you could say, and probably a bit more, really.
The thing is, Dan, with issues, things don't change unless you change them, and we haven't. And we've let it drag on.
No.
And the goals we conceded against Blackburn, utterly shambolic, Dan, to be fair. Look at the first goal, we give it away, like you said, to get the ball into the box. No one's there, non-existent. We get caught out, to get the ball into the box. It comes off Samare, in by Good Johnson. And then the second goal, Steffi's just jogging back. Christensen gets easily beat. Vestergaard and Samare don't even bother sticking a foot in. Vestergaard's on his arse and Good Johnson scores. Yeah,
that's it. Exactly.
And we don't put chances away when we get them, Dan. You look at yesterday, Mavridi's opportunities. Got to score. Score.
Yeah, he does. He really does. And that's the second time that's happened to him now. Dead centre of the goal. An opportunity to score and get ourselves back into it, or as it was on that time, the potential to win the game.
It looks like the wheels have really fell off. it looks like the wheels have really fell off with this team. They started to get points at the start of the season against teams who you would say Sheffield Wednesday, who are in the relegation zone at the minute, aren't they? But they put up a fight against us, Birmingham, Charlton. We picked up points against teams.
Yeah, I wouldn't exactly say the wheels
come up from League One. No disrespect, we've got points against them, but then we've dropped points against Wrexham, another team who we've picked up a point against. You know, teams that we should be beating in this league, Dan, but we don't. And this is the thing. We as a team, the mentality is that we just can't physically know how to play football.
Well,
Carranza midfield yesterday, not good enough.
No. Well,
supposed to be a striker, apparently, Dan. Yeah. Huh? Carranza's supposed to be a striker, but he was nowhere up front yesterday, really.
Well, he's too busy picking himself up off the floor. He's Daka Mark II, isn't he? At the minute, he gets blown over in the wind, you know. But again, like I say, I wouldn't exactly say the wheels were on. We might have had a set of rims on, but they were definitely on flat tyres, without a doubt, from the start of the season. Like, you know, aside in disarray like Sheffield Wednesday were at the first game of the season at home in front of a group of fans that were already pissed about how bad the season was before, a new manager, you know, showing what they can do, and they didn't turn up for 45 minutes. You know, it was an hour before we then got ourselves back in the game, and then right at the death, Fast scores the header. So we can't exactly say that we've been firmly at a wheel and we were cruising down the motorway. Like I say, we were limping along with flat tyres and, you know, ready for a new full service. So, and now it has just caught up with us, and these last few games have shown it. Yeah,
it shows how teams have exploited us. You know, teams have found out our weaknesses, and they caught us out time and time again. You look at Blackburn, then you're looking at Pompey, Wrexham. Who else we dropped points again in the last 3 games? Millwall, Hull. They've known how to beat us. We just don't. There's just no effort, Dan. No passion from the team. Just half-hearted arse, you know, and they couldn't bloody plan a piss up in a brewery, could they? Let's be honest about it.
It's not just that. Or they can't follow a set of instructions to how to.
This is it.
Get themselves through 90 minutes.
And then Abdul, they rely too much on him when Abdul's not in the game. Leicester, who's creating it for Leicester? Really, nobody. Jordan James, I love him to bits. He gives 100%. He did yesterday. I thought he was the only one of the only couple of players. They tried. Abdul were getting frustrated. He were getting annoyed because he had no support around him. Couldn't really offer out on his own, and this is why he gets frustrated, because we're relying on him too much to get us through the games, because nobody else is doing it apart from him and Jordan James. Yeah.
Well, again, like I say, with the first goal yesterday, it showed. You know, JJ's the one that's worked in the corner to win the ball back, put the cross in, and because he's then not in the middle, the other two might as well have not bothered being there. You know, like I say, I know it was Samaria who ended up getting the half block that made it an even better ball through to Goodjohnson. It's like, you know, again.
I just don't know what to say at this point, Dan, with this team. People can say, well, he's been dealt a bad hand, but as a manager, he's still got to come in and do the job and still try and get the best out of a poor side and try and change things the best you can. And if you can't do that, you know, football's based on points. It's based on how well you're doing as a manager. If you're doing well, fantastic. But if you're not, and you're not getting the points that get you there,
that's it.
We're going to end up having to look at another manager again. But then we can't keep rotating every time, Dan, and keep acting like a door that just keeps spinning round.
A revolving door,
Yeah, the revolving door, spinning it around, you know. And this is what we've become as a football club. There's just there's just no settle. We're not settled, are we, at all?
No, but we can't, because of how badly we've been managed in the past with the likes of above. We can't turn around players to get them in and out of the club because we've given them far too much money.
We have, and that's why they won't give it up.
Well, that's it. So that's the first issue. The second issue is then that these players, because they've then got that money, nobody else is going to be prepared to even probably give them half of what they're earning. So they'll sit where they are and they don't need to do anything about it. So like I say, it just comes down to a pure mismanagement of everything that's gone around. So you can't turn these players around and then bring the fresh faces in to revitalise the squad for a new manager to then go and work and do something with it. What we have is the same regurgitated shit that's been hanging around for 4 and 5 years that ain't worth anything. But they'll play because we've spent all our money and more. So we've
wasted it, haven't we?
Yeah, because the squad's so bloated as well. Regardless of how many we've got, it just wasn't enough. Even if you really did get rid of players that you didn't want to, or players that weren't worth anything. I mean, like I say again, we can argue and debate all day about how much a player is worth, but sometimes you just to clear the books, you just have to take what you can get, and we don't seem to be prepared to do that. Like with the Dakar incident, whether the stories were true or not, Saudi saying they were going to give us 6 million for him. Well, I cannot believe you don't snap their hands off and go, oh no, we want 10 because we want to buy a player from Millwall. So we're going to have to pay over the odds, probably pay him too much money and end up with the same problem. So they don't learn the lesson. They don't just go, okay, well, we'll take that 6. We've got a player off the books. We'll get somebody else in on loan for 6 months if necessary. Yes, okay, we might pay over the odds in wages slightly for him, but it's for 6 months. So what does it matter? It's not that much of a loss on paper, as opposed to what we are doing and not taking money and getting these players out of the club. So, it doesn't matter who comes in. Yes, he should be doing better. Yes, it's all right having a philosophy, but the philosophy can only work if you've got a group of players that can carry it out. And at the minute, we don't have that. So what you have to do is work with what we've got and work out a formation. Earn your money as a manager or a coach, whatever you want to call them these days, and you work out a way of where you can have a combination of the two. A formation that's going to suit the players that we've got, and a philosophy that suits you in how you want us to play. I mean, he's banged on from all right, not much of a pre-season, but from pre-season, the moment he walked into the club, up until still yesterday, where he's going on about this fast, free-flowing, attacking football. Well, I'm sorry, but we ain't seeing it. All we're seeing...
We're too big. This football, it's always down the wings, and then teams are just putting 2 players on it, 3 players, and then we've got nothing down the middle to go for it. I can see the fans are angry, and rightfully so, with the form that we're on. And
realistically, we've had 1 good season in the last 5, so that's it. So
there was Mick, yeah. I think I thought we got rid of a good couple of players, but there should have been a lot more out the door and a lot more coming in, but we don't.
Yeah,
we didn't have a manager. We didn't even have a manager because we didn't know what was happening with Ruud van Nistelrooy until like July the 1st.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but
that's it. Yes, we did get rid of a lot, but it wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough. No, we didn't drain the swamp enough, but we got ourselves in it, Dan. We've got a squad of players who didn't give anything against Blackburn, got beat, and we go into Tuesday night's game. It's toxic, isn't it? It is. Middlesbrough.
It was Saturday. It really
Middlesbrough's. The fans have had enough.
Yeah.
And I feel for the fans because they pay good hard working money in that you know what, go and see a team that actually you hope will actually go and put in a performance and give it their all. But this squad, it's just individuals, Dan. Like I say, it's individuals.
Yeah. I mean, like Victor Christian, he showed yesterday that he doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to.
Went straight down the tunnel after he come off, and then come out after 10 minutes.
I'd rather he didn't even come out the tunnel with how he performed yesterday. You know,
no.
Like literally, it was laughable at times of what he was doing and how he was portraying himself. I mean, again, you know, at some point, you must have some personal pride in what you are putting out there. You know, everybody does. You know, no matter how pissed off we are with our bosses or or the places we work at or whatever it is, you still have your own personal pride in putting in a performance and doing a job right. You don't just toss it off because you're being paid a fortune.
Because you feel that you shouldn't be in the championship.
Yeah, that's it.
This is their own fault to why we're in the championship. So, you know.
Because they're not good enough.
Well, this is it. And the merry-go-round at Leicester City goes on.
Yeah.
Will Leicester jump on the manager merry-go-round? Well, Marty's. There's big pressure at the minute, and there's two games now. Middlesbrough and Norwich. He's got to get something. If he doesn't,
it's going to be a tough week this week for him.
Tough games. We call Norwich. You know, they're in free fall, but they haven't won a game in at home, and they'll probably go and do something against us.
At the end of the day, it's a game away. All right, against another struggling side, but we're struggling. So you know, it's not like it's they're in as much shit as we are, so we'll be all right because we're slightly less shit than they are. That's not how it works.
But
and
this is it.
And everything else in charge, and want a new bounce by the time we get there. Like I say, Tuesday, Wednesday are going to be big nights for clubs. So
they are, and we've seen how the championship can turn quite quickly, Dan. And talking about changes quite quickly, Middlesbrough actually. So should we get the Boro breakdown in, Johnny, and discuss Tuesday night's game?
Absolutely, why not?
Let's go, Johnny. Sorry, we've had to leave you out, mate, a bit and have a rant about our club, mate. But I'm sure things are better at the Riverside this season, mate. Sitting second in the league with Rob Edwards.
Yeah, it's probably a lot better, to be honest. A much nice surprise and comparable to what we thought was going to probably happen at the start of the season. Probably from January of this year to May, we had a lot of injuries. Results didn't go our way. Carrick left. You're thinking, okay, well, what are Boro going to do next, really? Which direction are they going to go in? Edwards just came in and he didn't really have much pressure on him to be as successful as he is. We still have a squad good enough for top six, and we probably improved it a lot since January and comparable to what Carrick had towards the end. And yeah, we look like we're in a fairly decent spot at the moment. I mean, there is heavy links that Rob Edwards could be leaving us to go to Wolves, so it might not be Rob Edwards as Middlesbrough by the time on Tuesday. But it's we've had a really good start, and I know I was saying in the background, Jack, that it's I could see what you guys are going through at the moment, just in terms of pain and the amount of money that some of the guys at Leicester are on. It's so difficult, isn't it, to really put the F in when you're getting 60, 70 grand a week. So
it is, but you know, you can see obviously what's happening at Middlesbrough at the minute. Players are giving 100%, aren't they? They are winning games. You're where we would want to be. But this is the thing, isn't it, Johnny, to be fair, where Boro have started off really well, 6th, 2nd, 25 points from your opening 13, 7 wins, 4 draws, 2 defeats. How good has it been? And also, who have been more of your standout players? I'm sure Hayden Hackney has been the ideal one that you can really pick out from. I think it was big for Boro to really keep hold of him with the Ipswich links and that. What's been your initial thoughts on the start that Boro have had?
Yeah, good. Much more solid, well-rounded team in comparison to what we have been previously. I think technically I would say we've regressed year on year, but somehow we're in a much better position in the league. I think with Michael Carrick, you were always saying, well, Boro's underperforming because we were just shipping in goals for fun. Because of our own doing, really. It wasn't because we were getting cut open. It was just because we were making stupid mistakes and having a mountain to climb. to try and turn like those negative results into positive ones. But for this one, much more solid, changing shape slightly in terms of set. So we're playing like more of a 3-4-2-1 now as a box midfield. And we're not a possession-based team anymore. So when I was appreciating the last time we played King Power, when we won, we explained about it earlier. We did the double. We were a possession-based side. Love to bop the ball around. Really good in possession. Now it's very much it's direct, and we're still trying to work it out going forward. I would say, at the moment, it feels like we're really solid defensively, keeping the clean sheets. You play through Hayden Hackney because he is our sole key to everything. He'll bring the ball forward, and then when we get to that final third, it feels very unstructured, very much relying on individual quality. Crosses in the box aren't really hitting the targets because Tommy Conway doesn't really head the ball as much as what you want him to be. He's not really a target. But you've got David Strelec on the bench, who is a fantastic footballer. He just hasn't really adapted just yet to the championship. But you said around players to watch out for. I think Middlesbrough's midfield is probably the key aspect to everything.
Yeah.
Like Hayden Hackney is Boro's best player by a country mile. I think Aidan Morris is equally as fun in terms of an engine, and also Alan Brown's played quite well as well since he's been deputising in for Morris. But Middlesbrough's midfield is the key to everything. Riley McGree is probably another player who's just come back to fitness, and definitely a player who I really enjoyed to watch. And then I'd also give a shout out to Sol Bryn as well, the goalkeeper, because young goalkeeper, academy graduate. He's done really well the last couple of seasons in League 2 and League 1 and getting in that player of the season. And then he's came here, and we were all saying we need a new keeper this year, and he's came in and done relatively quite well. So, there's just a few things to probably look out for. But, it's been a fabulous start, and we're really happy with how things are going. But you still, when you watch Middlesbrough, you leave going, I just need to see a lot more for this to be sustainable if we were to go up.
Yeah, the Premier League's tough, innit? It is. Obviously, Sunderland at the minute, bloody finding it quite easy with how they've actually spent sensibly, and they've basically done things that the three last season that came up didn't do. Johnny, what is your thoughts on how things went at the weekend at Watford? Didn't go too well. 3-0 defeat. Where did it go wrong for Boro? Was it that you was bad, or how did it sort of fare with the defeat at Vicarage Road? How would you sum it up, mate?
Yeah, it wasn't really a 3-0 game, to be honest. They were very efficient, in front of goal, to be honest. But really, one of them was offside, with Miles offside, and then the couple of them was just against the run of play where Boro were having the best moment. But it was alluded to there, we'll get through that direct play. It's normally the centre back or play it to Hackney. Hackney will try and play it through, but then Hackney was going forward and there was no one around him, so it was sideways, and Boro weren't creating a thing. So when you don't create anything, you give the game to an opposition. And I think when a team sits deep against Boro, they can't break them down. They really cannot break a team who will sit down, and get them on the counter attack.
I don't see us sitting back against you, mate. To be fair,
to be honest, I think the way things are going with Leicester at the moment, I think you would try and just get that result, but by giving Middlesbrough the ball. And historically, Edwards is not a great possession-based coach. He's very much direct, and he does not do well when his teams have most of the ball. And if Leicester were to give Middlesbrough and just sit a bit deeper, go for the counter, Fatu on the wing, transition football, I think you could potentially get a result, to be honest. Then I think that's how Boro are. I think as a group, they won't break you down. But if you do play that possession-based style and you do open up and are expansive, then I think Boro will favour Middlesbrough because they are very much a very transition counter-based team.
What I would say, Johnny, is, mate, you won't have to break us down, to be fair. We seem to get the ball away too easy, don't we, Dan? And we seem to cause our own issues. We open ourselves up too easily to teams, and we keep giving the ball away too cheaply. You look at that Blackburn goal. If Middlesbrough do what Blackburn did against us, then I think you're probably guaranteed to get something Tuesday night against us. But we're just too easy to play against, Johnny. Millwall found that out. If they start battling against us and really getting in our faces and that, which I think Middlesbrough will, we don't like that. We sort of bow down to teams. People say we've got the quality. We might have with Jordan James and Vatawu, but it's executing that quality, isn't it? And if you're not doing that, and say Boro double up on Abdul and then Jordan James doesn't get anything in the middle, Leicester just don't do nothing. We don't get the ball enough forward. We seem to keep going backwards and sideways, and I think we're bloody frustrated as fans, to be fair. As you would have seen at Blackburn with the defeat, we didn't turn up at all. And if we turn up the way we did against Blackburn, against you lot, it could be a very long Tuesday night for Leicester City, to be fair. We're on a bad run of form. Some people say it's probably the best time to play Leicester. It is. Everyone's going to fancy it. There's just no morale about Leicester and Dan, and
No.
I think the team is very upbeat at the minute. Middlesbrough, could they pile more misery on us? You probably think they can, to be fair. But what have you made to Leicester? What have you made, Dan, of Middlesbrough, and how you think things will go Tuesday night?
I think things will be terrible for us, and especially with what Johnny's saying there, with playing on the transition. We are awful at that. We are awful, because we think we're a passing, footballing, stylish side, and we're not. We give the ball away far too easily, and the other thing we don't do is we then don't go and get numbers. Once we've given it away, we don't go and get numbers back behind the ball and it. We just go, it's all right, somebody else will do that. And they don't. And until Akoli came back in, we lack severe pace at the back. We really are slow. With Vestergaard being the worst one of all, it's like him running in treacle. So we get caught out with that so badly, which is a tough thing to watch. So, with when I watched you guys play against Ipswich and how you carved them open quite comfortably at times, that's what I mean. It's a very big concern for me on Tuesday night, because if you can do it to them who have a lot quicker back four than what we've got, you will no doubt do that exceptionally easily against us. Like I say, I'm hoping that Akoli will play like he did, or as well as he did on Saturday, because if it wasn't for him, it could have been 4 and 5s against Blackburn, and without being too disrespectful, which is kind of contradictory what I'm going to be, they're not very good. They're a pretty poor side, but yet again, like I say, they went through us like a hot knife through butter at times. Their first goal, when we were missing JJ out of the middle there because he was busy putting a ball in and couldn't then get back in, there was a gaping big hole in our centre midfield, because yet again, like I say, they're slow and not mobile. With that, along with a slow back four, it's causing us massive issues, because football is more about pace nowadays, more so than ever. And you have to be quick all over. It's not. It always used to be, if you had quick, tricky wingers and a quick, lightning quick centre forward, you'd always be all right. But now, centre halves and fullbacks are just as quick, if not quicker, in some regards. And like I say, we've not moved on as a footballing side and a club for 5 years now. We've stuck in concrete, it feels like at times, and we've just not moved on and moved with what the times was. Whereas, let's say again, 6-7 years ago, everybody wanted to be like Leicester. Now, absolutely nobody wants to be like us. So that's, like I say again, where my worry is with how you guys play, especially with people like Whittaker, who is lightning.
Whittaker's just starting to score goals now, isn't he, Johnny? What have you made of Leicester?
Not great, I'll be honest. To be honest, I know I'm saying to you there.
To be fair,
yeah, I think in 2 words, not great. I think I was saying to you in the chat that it's tough to get out of bed and do roll books when you be sleeping in silk pajamas, and when you've got overplayed players who are on big contracts, and it's always going to be difficult to turn things around. I think it's a shame, really, to see that you're in that position. And after like so many years of success, you get used to it. And then when you do have this flip and difficult moment, it's very difficult to get out of it. And even with the pending points deduction, you are a little bit concerned because you don't really know where the results are going to come from now. Because when you do get in that bad run, was it one win in 9? So and I think that's why, 100%. And I think that Cifuentes now that he has to change it. He has to move to a more compact shape and try and grind out 1 or 2 results just to stop the rot. And then once he does that, then you can start to build again, I would say, because the quality's there. And it only takes a couple of results to get people going again. And maybe there's quite a lot of things happening that you're probably not aware of, or you don't know if players have just spat the dummy out, or if a new sign hasn't, hasn't gelled with the squad or gelled with the manager. And you just never know what happens in a football club, really, do you? And I think that's the reason why you're in that position that you're in, really. It's not because of the lack of quality, it's just because of multiple things that have all combined into one, which has put you in this position.
Oh,
it's a fair point.
14 never tells us anything.
You what, Dan?
Said our club never tells us anything, so we'll never know of anything until a player leaves the club, and then they'll come out and say such and such treated me so bad and throws me out.
Yeah, I think it'll come a point where it's starting to get even more rotten, where like your team gets leaked about 3 or 4 days before players start to you hear more murmurs, don't you? And the writing on the wall for someone like that.
There were multiple stories last season about Vestergaard walking his dog around the training ground, and so won't stay at the training ground, and it's like, really, like, what's going on? What are you lot doing at the training ground? Because Leicester fans like to call it a holiday camp. It's players go there, have a kick around with the mates, get a nice spa treatment and all that, play pool and whatever. And then when it comes to the real deal of match day, they just don't turn up. Yeah, we've turned up a couple of times this season, and it says it all in the 4 wins that we've had. Where, we've only won them games really with the Swansea second half. We haven't looked convincing at all, and cracks really started to show in how some players would go into games with the mentality in it and stuff like that, and when they get found out and the weaknesses start getting found out, it's a problem. I
do find it a bit wild, Jack, that you try and play the way that you play with such a slow defence. It just makes sense for you to sit a bit deeper, and you've got pace around the team, so it just makes sense just to give up the ball and play to that versus trying to be really expansive, because like you were saying there, if the players are slow and they're not going to get back into that position, then that's probably the reason why it's not really going to work. But that means it should be him. If you can see it as fans, then surely a coach can definitely see it. But who knows at this point?
Well, that's the thing. The fans see a lot, don't they, with what they watch. Sometimes you're watching it through your fingers, watching Leicester City this season, to be fair, because the performances go from bad and then gradually they've got worse as they've gone on with the last 3 defeats in a row now. We've gone from Hull to Millwall to yesterday's game. We were just shambolic. We turn up, like I say, against Middlesbrough like that. They're going to put us away quite easily. It'll be a hot knife through butter, basically. And we can't afford to keep doing this because we're going to slip further down the table. I think we're on the same points as the team in 17th, which I think is Derby County. So, and then you got the points deduction to come. And we don't know what that's going to hold for us, or how many points it even is. So that's going to slip you further away if it is, say, significant, because that's going to affect your season even more. And that makes it even worse for us. But, we've got 2 games to do in Middlesbrough and Norwich. Norwich are not doing great at all, are they, with how things are going with Liam Manning and that. If he loses on, Tuesday or Wednesday night they play, then they'll probably sack him. And then on Saturday, it'll be like a little manager bounce for them. And then we come to town. Johnny, how much confidence does your fan have in Steve Gibson, the owner?
100% backing, really. I think it's Gibson's until he wants it. Yeah, you
Cut
can't
off.
really. You'll always have like a select few that will always want better, and rightfully so. Like there will be a point where he'll take us as far as he wants, but again, it's up to him when he wants to walk away. Really, I don't think anyone will complain if Gibson's still the chairman, even like another 5-10 years time.
Fair enough. So some of the stats. Leicester haven't scored in the last 2. They haven't kept a clean sheet in 7, by the way, Leicester City.
Well, we give Watford the first clean sheet of the season this weekend, so I mean,
thanks, mate. You can always help us out somewhere. Middlesbrough have won the previous 2 matches against Leicester. Santi Hansen has had the most shots per on match for Middlesbrough with shots on target. Middlesbrough's form going into this, they've won 2 in the last 5. Leicester have won 1 in the last 5. So one team has got to react better from the weekend's results. But yeah, this one's a tough game, isn't it, Dan? Going into this, it's a game that we bloody hope the team put in a performance, but how things are going, Dan, it just feels like the book keeps repeating itself.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. Well, again, just wanted to ask Johnny quickly as well. Did Saturday feel like it was a bit of a one-off, bit of trial and something, and it's not really come off, or is it something that you felt had the potential to happen?
I felt like it was coming. To be honest, I think it was definitely a result that we knew at one point there was going to be a side that was efficient and will just absolutely send us into a really big spiral of we're terrible and it's all going to fall apart. But we're not creative enough, to be honest. And we've been lucky and fortunate in games, especially Wrexham. We should have got beat 2-0. Really managed to get a point. Portsmouth were terrible and lost. So, but there's been a lot of warning signs of lack of creativity. So it was a result that was coming, I think.
Well, maybe it might not be so bad because it sounds like both sides lack serious creativity. Let's say our forwards seem to be scared of going in the box. I don't know what's wrong with them.
We play with 10 men, don't we, Dan?
Well, yeah, we do. I'd like to say we play with a few less than that at the minute, but
Casper goes up front, mate. You know what I mean?
Certainly as a centre forward or a striking role, we're non-existent
up front, Johnny. To be fair, we haven't got a striker. We haven't replaced Jamie Vardy. We've gave Jordan Ayew the number 9 shirt. Why? Well, it's a problem in itself. A guy who's never played as a striker before. Up until he's come to Leicester City. So I just don't understand it.
Different centre forwards, and they've scored 1 goal between them. So one of them hasn't scored in, what is it now, 130 odd days or something. So what
do we want to try and get? He's not been seen at all. Like why have we brought him in if he's never even played? He's on about the goalkeeper.
He's not going to give Stolarczyk a break, is he? Because
we'd hoped, Dan, that it would be competition for Stolarczyk. This is what you'd hope he'd brought him in. But it just feels like Begovic is the only option. It's like, okay, well, what's happening? Well, I said this to my mate on the phone today. Where is he?
I think he was only brought in as a more experienced cover than what the young lad Borson is, because what we found out in pre-season is he is nowhere near ready for it.
I agree, Michael. I agree, mate. One player won't change the team. You need more than that.
It's not. We most definitely need to change the system, the formation, or like I say, his playing style. I don't think the players have got it in them to play a different style, because like what I alluded to earlier, they think that they're players and they think they can pass the ball and bop it around teams, like they did when they were last in this league. But it's different players slightly as well. We've just we've got the rubbish that's left, not the good ones that were there. So it's making it hard.
Dan, the last two we have played Middlesbrough. 2-1 defeat last time round. Time before that, we were a 2-2 draw in league competition, and then we beat them 2-0, 2014 January. David Nugent scored, obviously played for Boro as well. Johnny would know that quite well. We haven't beat Middlesbrough at the King Power since 2014. So our last two games, we haven't won. We haven't won against them at all. They've come out on top in the games that they have. 1 win and 1 draw.
Yeah. And then when we was last in the Championship, they were one of, I think, the only side to have done the double over us.
Oh, they beat us twice.
So
yeah,
look, Johnny's smiling away there. He's quite happy with that.
We were good on those games, to be fair. We were good, especially away from home. Away from home, definitely. I think in the first home game, we should have won.
Yeah, played us at 1 at home. Was it Sinclair who scored for you in the last visit? It was Azaz and Silvera, were it?
Yeah, Azaz and Silvera. Obviously, Azaz is at Southampton now, and then Sammy Silvera's he's playing as a left wing back now.
Jamie Vardy scored. Second half, we just knocked on the door a lot of times, and we couldn't bloody get past you.
Well, I remember we played them away as well. You know, it was at Greenwood free kick.
The free kick,
in the last couple of minutes or whatever, however long it was, and So it's been frustrating playing, but that's football. Hopefully we can turn it on Tuesday.
Johnny, what's your thoughts on this game before I get to the team selection, footing both camps and scores? How do you think you will fare against Leicester?
Honest to God, it's one of those games where I've sat here and I've heard like all the worst things that happening at Leicester. So it just screams a win at Leicester now, doesn't it? To be honest, so I wouldn't be shocked if we did get beat. To be honest, but I'm going into the game really. It's very dependent on how you set up. I would say if you set up like you've been saying, then it's very much like a result where I think Boro could comfortably get something and not really break a sweat. But if you do change it and Boro can't break it down, it's a difficult evening and you can take a drop. Look, you've still got quality in the squad. You know, it's not like, I know it's not going great right now, but like you've said, if players want to. And this is a game where they could prove it. Then Middlesbrough could be in for a really difficult evening, to be honest. But yeah, I see it. I think the first 20 minutes, you'll know exactly how the game's going to go. To be honest, I think that first 15, 20 minutes, if Leicester want to play out from the back, still want to be really expansive in possession, Boro will cut it open, and I think they'll win the game comfortably. But if they don't and want to hit it long, then Boro might struggle, I would say.
Dan, formation change. Obviously, the formation, it has been a problem, hasn't it, with how we played. We have played some players square pegs in round holes at times. We did with Jordan James again yesterday and put Bouba Samara in there. 3-5-2 is what some fans have obviously spoke about quite significantly at times. We did do that against Millwall, didn't we, second half? We then went and tried it against Blackburn. It didn't really work as much as it did against Millwall in the second half, but do you think we could realistically see a formation change? I know Marty likes to stick with the same philosophy of a 4 at the back. Would you change the formation?
Would I personally? Yes.
Yeah, would you change it?
Marty will? No, I don't think he will. I think he's definitely from, like I say, the Pep Enzo style of philosophy, where if plan A is not working, you go to plan A and do it better. That seems to be the way he is, and it's just not working. You know, we have when we done it, when we played against Birmingham and done it, when we were under the cosh a little bit from them when they were trying to get back into the game. Not that they were any goal threat, but they were putting us under pressure. You know, we looked more secure. We look more secure when we play as a 3-4-3 or 3-5-2, whatever, you know, whatever formation it is.
Yeah.
Like I say, our back four is so slow. No matter who's in it, it causes us a massive problem. And when you have three at the back, they tend to bail each other out a little bit more, because you'll always have one sitting slightly deeper than the other that can sort it out. I mean, like I say again, when Coley's there, it's not so bad, because he is quick and he is strong, he's powerful. He can't pass water, but as a defender doing defensive duties, he's very good at. But like I say, if you want him to be on the ball and spraying passes around, he absolutely cannot do that. Whereas we have the opposite with Yannick, who is very, very, very good at picking out passes and spraying the ball around and looking very pretty. But you ask him to do his job as a defender, and you've got absolute zero chance. Like I say, the guy can't tackle, he can't head, and he can't run. And that's three fundamentals of a defender that you actually absolutely need. The rest of it is a bonus, but it doesn't seem to want to be there with us.
Well, Dan, we talk about Vestergaard, mate. That header would have found the back of the net, but then Mavididi took it over the line himself. They were offside. We cost ourselves our own chances. When we need to score, something else happens. It's like, really? You do realise you're not defending for the other team.
No, but that's just a little bit of desperation on Steffi's part.
That's what it is. He wants to score and get this done.
Yeah. The last time before he got injured and played, where he fluffed his lines on 2 occasions, and previous games before, you have to admire slightly, even though it cost us. He's desperate to score a goal and get back. So you do have to admire him for that, for wanting to score. He's just unfortunate that the big chances have fell to him, and he's fluffed every one of them. Again, when he had a chance at the end towards in the second half, where it was harder for him to miss than what it was. It was hard for him to miss.
Jamie Vardy would have buried them chances. I'm telling you.
Yeah, he would have. Yeah,
he would have. But this is it. When you don't replace him with a good enough striker, this is what you get in front of goal. But it is what it is. Let's go.
He must score the perfect goal, and he doesn't need to do that. He just needs to scuffer.
Well, this is it. Let's have a look at foot in both camps. Reading this list, Johnny, how many do you actually remember, mate? Because it depends how old you are, actually, Johnny. How old are you, mate?
I'm 30, so there's quite a lot I can remember from this list. To be honest, So
I think one of them on the list, mate, currently plays for Leicester, and he was one of your worst fullbacks at Middlesbrough. That's why you lot didn't want to sign him, but Yakubu.
Obviously, I
remember he scored a hat-trick at the Riverside, Yakubu, for Leicester. Did well for you lot. The late Sol Bamba, I mean, that guy was a great defender, to be honest. Do you know what? He did well for you lot in the matches that he played. 52. Marcus Bent, Danny Coyne, Richie Delat played for you. Obviously, he got a promotion medal, didn't he?
Promotion, then got the championship.
Promotion and a Premier League winning medal.
Yeah, on the same day, wasn't it? Yeah, it was on the same day.
Robert Hoof.
Yeah, great. Honestly, incredible. Like centre back. To be fair, I think we got him when he was quite young, I would say. And I think we got him from Chelsea, and then he's gone on to do some really good things. But you could tell at the time when. Interestingly, when Robert Huth came in, Southgate just retired. We had the Ugo Ekiog as well in centre half. There was a lot of really Chris Rigger and some really established Premier League players that were in our side then. And then when he came in a lot younger, that's when the tide started to change because Boro started to run out a little bit of money at the time. It was a great signing for Robert Huth, to be honest. Really enjoyed him.
Johnny, what was your actual thoughts on Sol Bamba? Obviously, played 30 for you lot, 52 for Leicester. I remember his debut goal, Dan. 30 seconds into the game against Man City, scored that goal. He was a cult hero at Leicester, very much so, Sol Bamba. Loved him to bits. God rest his soul. But how do you think he did at Middlesbrough?
Well, he came in as like a fifth choice centre half under Neil Warnock, really, and it was one of those things where he just came back from cancer and he was wanting to train, and he came in and just galvanised the group really, and he was just one of those players where you couldn't help but love him. And he's always got that iconic penalty against Manchester United as well, where his only touch over the entire game was a penalty shootout penalty, and he absolutely smashed the bottom corner. And really, it was one of those players that I wasn't there for forever, but still like someone who is fondly remembered on Teesside, to be honest.
Made an impact in the time he was there.
I mean, Kelechi had a great FA Cup run, Dan, in his time at Leicester when we did win the FA Cup. He obviously did his bits for the club here, Nacho. He might not have been the Jamie Vardy sort of looking striker, but I don't know if he really lived up to the price tag of £25 million what we spent on him, Kel. Boro, obviously, it didn't work out for him, did it, Johnny, to be fair, when you had him on loan? Was it last season?
Yeah, mate, one word, shite, to be honest. I think it was just, you can tell, like, as soon as he started playing, we had about 5 minutes, he went, yeah, it's not going to work. And it didn't. And it didn't work. So, yeah, not particularly great. And, he's up in Celtic now as well. So,
yeah.
And where he could have went before us. But, yeah, it just didn't work out, to be honest.
Carl Norton, David Nugent. Nugent played 162 times for Leicester, 45 for Boro. Yeah, you spent, was it £3 million you spent on him, David Nugent?
Yeah, it was about 3 million, and he was brought in as like a third choice centre forward. And honest to God, he scored so many important goals for us on that promotion run. And honestly, loved him. Absolutely loved him. Just that bit of experience when you needed someone to come on and see a game or unlock something. And yeah, it was brilliant. Honestly, really good, David Nugent. Loved him.
Dan, what was your thoughts on Nugent at Leicester? Always had a smile on his face. Loved the goal, especially against Ipswich.
Again, he's another player who always done well for us. Always gave as much as he could. He knew what he was good at and what he wasn't so good at. But you could guarantee that, especially him and Matty Fry at the time and Vards when he came in, blended, worked, and scored us goals and got us up as well. So
right.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't think he did.
You sure?
Yeah. I think Fry had already gone to Hull. Hull with Nigel Pearson.
I don't think he did. I didn't think he did. I thought
I think it was
that's why we let him go, because we had
Jamie Vardy were there at that point. Lee Peltier, Aaron Ramsey, who's obviously injured for Leicester at the minute. What was he like? John, Aaron Ramsey.
Yeah, it was an interesting one, really, because he came from a quite a poor loan at Norwich, and it was at a time as well where Middlesbrough were absolutely flying, with Cameron Archer, Chuba Akpom in the side, and Ryan Giles would whip the balls in, and we were honestly probably the best football I've seen as a Middlesbrough supporter. That season was just incredibly good. It was quite hard to lose it in the playoff semi-finals, but for Aaron Ramsey, he started off well and then got injured. He scored, and then against Norwich celebrated, and 5 minutes later got crunched, and then just didn't see him again for the rest of the season, which was a shame, really, because I really liked Aaron Ramsey at the time, and he's had some bad injuries over the last couple of years, so I don't think he's really the same player of what he was when he was at Middlesbrough. But yeah, I would have had him back at Middlesbrough at any point, because he's a young talent who I just think needs time now to get back into the swing of things. But yeah, it's one of those times where just injury, unfortunately, cut his time short.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the same with us at the minute, where he had a nightmare first start. Yeah, he got sent off his first game.
And then he's injured, and you want him to come good, and you can see the players there for him. And then injuries, you know what injuries are like at Leicester. We start seeing good things in players, and then the injuries take them out the games. Mark Schwarzer, club legend for Middlesbrough, one of Nigel Pearson's best mates, to be honest. I think that's why we really brought him in. Sean St. Ledger played for both clubs. Luke Thomas, what was he like at Middlesbrough? Honestly, Sheffield United didn't fancy him. What was he like at Middlesbrough on loan? Why did you send him back to us?
Probably couldn't justify what we were paying for him. To be fair, I think he came in really because we literally had no left backs left because everyone was injured.
Yeah.
And then we brought in Sam Millen Jr. as well and played him at left wing back. And you know what, Luke Thomas was just fine. It was like, he's fine. Just like, would I want to pay 30 grand a week for Luke Thomas? No. Let him go back. I guess it was just one of those things where not the worst player in the world, but not worth what we were paying him. And he was just meh. Really, and that was it.
Do you want him back?
No, not really.
We can do you a cut deal if you want. It's just on a 4-year contract. You lot might be heading to the Premier Leagues. I think you'd do well for you there.
I think we'll pass. On that one.
Yeah. Well, he offered. There's always January. We can always look at it in January. No, joking. Johnny, team, how do you reckon you'll line up? Do you reckon there'll be many changes from the weekend? And what about formation? What do you think Rob Edwards approaches this one?
I think we'll change it. I think the shape will stay the same in the back three, to be honest. I just think the personnel will change. Be Solbrin in goal. I'm going to predict of Luke Ayling, George Edmondson, because I think Dale Fry's injured, and Alfie Jones is the back three. Callum Britton right back, Matt Targett left back, Hackney and Morris in midfield, and then we'll have a front three of Riley McGree, Callie Sen, and Tommy Conway. I think that'll be your team.
Lovely. Like targets 50. Smash the like button. Johnny, where can everyone find you, mate?
You can find us just search for the Boro Breakdown podcast on YouTube or your podcast provider, and you should be able to find us there. And search us on social media, and you should be able to get us.
Lovely stuff. Is there any match preview coming out for the Leicester game for any fans that want to go over and have a listen?
There isn't actually this time around. It's the one time that we probably haven't because of just everyone's going to the game apart from myself. So it's everyone's. I know it's hilarious that I'm the only one out of the a lot of us is not going. So unfortunately, there's not going to be a preview this time around. But there will be a show on the Sunday just reviewing the game. So if Leicester fans want to come,
might be something more positive for you to talk about. But
I hope so.
Dan, Leicester team. How many changes are we going to make, Dan? Because I'd like to see Ben Nelson, and I'd like to see Olabode Aluko, Dan.
I don't think you'll see either of them, to be honest with you, Jack. Somebody was saying Saturday that Nelson's injured, but there's no report. Apparently,
he's been training. He's been training.
But.
How do you think you'll line up against Middlesbrough? What would your sort of team be?
I don't think he'll change anything. The only thing I think he may do is he may well drop.
No, we ain't going to do that anytime soon.
The only thing he might well do is drop Samari out, bring
and put Bobby Reid in.
And put Bobby Reid in. I think that will be our only change. And Thomas will come back in for VK. That will also happen.
Fair enough. I mean, I'd like to see a 3-5-2 or 3-4-3, whichever floats your boat. And I think he will stick with the back four. Will he stick with Ricardo? Because Ricardo, he don't play 3 games in a week, does he? So
no, but you might. Again, that's what I was just thinking.
I think he'll play Hamza at right back.
Yeah, I think. I was just thinking that when I finished, and I also think he'll drop Carranza out again as well. And
Jordan, are you down the middle again?
a wet paper bag or something like that would probably have more touches and be in the box more often.
Casper the Ghost will have more touches on Tuesday, I'm telling you. You'll see the winger pass. As soon as the ball moves, Johnny, mate, you'll know Leicester's got it. And then when it goes back to you, mate, we've lost possession. No, I think it'll be a real difficult game of how we turn up, to be fair, but it depends also how Middlesbrough turn up as well after that Watford defeat. So it's about a mentality switch between the sides. Who's the players to watch, Johnny, for Middlesbrough, apart from Hayden Hackney?
Callie Sen, if he plays up front, and David Strelic as well, if he plays. Two really solid signings from the summer. And Riley McGree, I would say Riley McGree is a delightful footballer to watch. So, yes, they're probably my three, I would say. Now that I've said that, probably none of them will start or even get a minute. So, yeah, they're probably my players to watch.
Why do you not think they'll get a minute? Are they not normal regulars, or is it just because of what happened Saturdays? They're the likely culprits to be changed.
McGree's coming back from a long-term injury, so he played his first game at the weekend. And David Strelic and Callie Sen are rotated in and out the team. Really, Edwards hasn't really settled with the front line yet. But I think Callie Sen is a really good footballer, really quick in behind, which is hence why I think he might start actually, because Boro will just knock it long and get someone to chase onto it. And David Strelic, as you've seen for Slovakia, really talented footballer who just sits in that 10. Hasn't really got going yet, but you can see the quality that he has.
Dan, Leicester, we'll probably talk about the same names. Abdul, Jordan James. If we've got the threat, I think they're the only two players I can really think of, to be fair, in the game where we can actually look at. But I'll tell you what.
I was just saying, if you give Harry Winks time to dictate play, he will hurt. There's no two ways about that. The issue with that, though, is that once he's done his bit in midfield, we're then just a little bit lacking. And the same as, again, like I say, with Abdul, if you give him the opportunity to come in with time on his left foot, cutting in off the right, he's going to hurt. But after that, like we say, there's not a great deal in there.
If we go 1-0 down, mate, it's going to be toxic again, isn't it? Like I say, they're going to get on the players' backs again, and that might work in Middlesbrough's favour, to be fair. Johnny, I'm going to come to you with score, mate.
3-0 Leicester, just from what I was saying earlier. But no, I think 2-1 Middlesbrough. I think we'll just have enough to win the game, I think.
When you said 3-0 Leicester, mate, I'd have took that.
Might happen, you never know.
Dan?
I think we'll lose 2-0 again.
I never like going against my own team.
No, but they've not given us much reason not to. You know, I'd love to turn around and say we'll get a draw because of what Johnny was saying earlier about not that creative and things like that. So, you know, if we could stand strong and sit a bit deeper and not let them go through us, we might well get a draw out of it, you know, a 1-1 or something like that. But I just, at this moment in time, Jack, I don't see it. I don't see where a goal's going to come from with our front line. I don't see us not conceding at least a goal with how they're playing. You know, there are holes all over our side. So unless he really brings the changes in, I think it's going to be an extremely tough night for us on Tuesday.
Yeah, Michael and Paul have gone with 3-1 to Middlesbrough. Oh.
I can completely see it. That's like I say. That's why.
This is it. I can sort of see if we don't turn up again, mate, we could get battered again. We're going to get outplayed.
And the other bit as well is the stick that our players took after the game and what they were forced to do. They're sulkers.
They wanted to go down. They wanted to go down the tunnel straight away. You could tell they just wasn't bothered. They wanted to basically go. Ricardo will like, mate, you lot are coming with me. You ain't going down that tunnel. You go and face the music, and they had to.
Yeah. That's it. So they'll still be sulking come Tuesday night.
Well, yeah. Well, we're not playing in front of these fans again. I've had enough. I'm not being funny, but you can be criticised.
I'll play shit and still expect to get bought.
I would physically say 1-1. If we turn up, we get a point because a draw is what we seem to be good at in the Championship this season, draw specialist. But I think if we don't turn up, I think we get beat again. Honestly, I think we get beat 2-1 Boro. I don't know where the next win's going to come from with us, to be fair. People say, yeah, but you'll beat Norwich. You say that every time, and we don't seem to be picking up. People say we'll beat Blackburn. We never did. We lost 2-0. So it's going to be either a 1-1 if we turn up or a 2-1 Boro if we don't. So that's what I'm going to go for. I'm going to sit on the bloody fence. Johnny, thanks for coming on, mate. I do appreciate it. I know it's been an hour and 10 minutes or whatever it is, but really appreciate it talking to you, Johnny. I will catch up with you for the reverse fixture at the Riverside, but all the best for the rest of the season after Tuesday's game, of course, until we meet again. Quickly plug your channel, mate, and let everyone know where they can find you, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Jack. And it is just search for the Boro Breakdown on YouTube and the podcast providers, and you'll find us there.
Appreciate it. Cheers, Johnny, mate.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, mate.
That's it then, Dan. The talking's done. Will the Foxes turn up and box with Middlesbrough on Tuesday night, mate? Surely we can't get out.
Look, I hope they prove me completely wrong and they go out there.
Yeah, that's what we can. We can only hope, Dan, that they turn up and put in a performance.
I hope they've been dragged in this morning. They've all had a chat with one another. They've had a players' meeting and gone, look, this ain't no good. Like what they've done in the past. Unfortunately, we don't have the same leaders as we had in the past, but I really hope they do.
Better job up front.
Yeah, and like I say, like I said earlier, have a bit of personal pride about yourself. You're not going to play shit and get bought. So you might as well put the effort in and do the job. And, hopefully, happy all round, they get the move and we get rid of them. So you kind of hoping that mentality changes and that's what happens, as opposed to, at the minute, sulking, not doing a lot, and then nobody's going to want you. Nobody's going to be interested. So
there we go. Guys, target is 50 likes for this one. We are halfway there on YouTube, and there's 25 on there at the minute. So if you can hit the like button, appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. If you're watching this on playback, let me know your thoughts. Head of the team. Will the Foxes turn up is my big question ahead of this one, or will the pile more misery on his Middlesbrough? Give me score predictions as well. And thanks for watching. Take care. And I'll catch you again tomorrow as me, Rich and Steve will be returning for the Championship predictions, week 14, 5 o'clock. Join us at 5 o'clock for that. We are early tomorrow. It's not 6. It's 5 o'clock tomorrow for the Monday show. And we'll go through all the midweek games and we'll see what Steve and Rich have got for Leicester as well, actually. So we'll see. But no, cheers, everyone. It can't go on like this, can it? Mick, you can have the final word, mate.
It can't go on like this, can it?
It can.